Good morning, everyone. It's Bruce Westfield coming to you live, Grind Workshop Podcast, where you are motivated and inspired to be the best version of yourself. I am so excited to be here today with you. Love doing this podcast. Love talking with so many people in different rooms, in your car, wherever you're at. I love talking to you. I started this podcast because I saw that there were so many people who don't know where to go and get help. They don't know who to talk to, where to start with personal growth, development, journey, learning from things that have hindered, damaged them, bruised them, or those entrepreneurs who want to be successful, or those small business owners who want to take themselves to the next level before they take their business to the next level. This is about doing the personal work. So I get a kick out of doing all this and told my wife the other day, I said, this podcast really does breathe life into some people. I've heard from people on different platforms, Facebook, Instagram. Had a guy, he said, man, and I want to give a shout out to my boy Lorenzo. He said, man, I'm loving what you're doing, man. You're really helping me out. I love listening to you. I hope that you can continue this on. And Lorenzo, my word to you is I'm going to continue. I want to thank everyone for their support who have listened in on the audios or even the videos. It means so much to me. And I want to continue to add value to you each and every opportunity that I get. Before I get started, I want to let you know the coffee of the day that I'm drinking is obviously Cameron's. Now, I drink other brands, but Cameron's just seems to be the more natural coffee that I enjoy indulging in. It tastes so fresh, so smooth. I like dark roast. I like French roast coffee, but it doesn't mean I don't drink medium roast. Can't get with light roast, but I definitely love this dark roast brand. All right, last week, we talked about increasing your thinking capacity. Thinking capacity. We talked about what that something is, what it can handle, the amount of weight that it can handle. This week, we're going to take that thought to the next level. I have some notes that I have accumulated from other mastermind groups that I've done, and I want to share those notes and those thoughts with you today. Today, we're going to talk about increasing your capacity for action. We talked about the first step. The second step is the action piece. Now, when I think about action, that means that you have to be in a position to do something. And in order to do something, you have to put yourself in a position, strategy-wise, how you're going to go about doing it. You have to know your target. You have to know what it is that you are going after, okay? What I want to talk about is 2 points that are going to help you move forward and increase your capacity for action. The first point I want to go over is stop doing only those things you have done before and start doing those things you could and should do. The more you get good at something, you discover additional things you can do. Now, this thought resonates with me because in order to be great at something, you have to at least get to the very beginning of doing something. When I started doing videos, I can tell you I wasn't very good. When I started doing audio, when I started doing talks, I was not very good, if I'm being brutally honest. I just started doing it because I knew the more that I would do it, the better I would get at it. But I also know that there are other things too in my life that I was introduced to. I became good at it, and then I became great at it. I want to talk to you about some internal things like anger, resentment, bitterness, unforgiveness, stubbornness. There are some people that or it could be you. They're very good at those things that I just named off. Some of them, they could be a master. If we go off of, Kung Fu, and when they go from starting at the entry level of Kung Fu all the way to being a sensei. Some people will be a sensei in those areas. I struggled growing up with anger. I didn't know where to direct it. I didn't know where I would take it. I just knew that when things would happen, I would get very angry and I would just go off on a tangent and I would just talk. I could just talk to myself for 2 minutes straight, and people looking at me in the room like, what just happened? Because they don't realize that I can get my own self stirred up. When my first year of marriage, my wife and I, we were in a 1-bedroom apartment. I believe it was about 650 square feet. There's not a lot of space in that place. This particular night, my wife is cooking dinner. She's making my favorite dish. She makes this spicy red pepper pasta, chicken pasta. And she does it so gracefully. This particular night, we were talking about spending money to go visit family when we lived in San Diego, visiting family in Chicago. Now, I looked at our bank account. Our bank account was saying a whole nother thing. But my wife, who loves to operate out of faith, she says, I want to go see my family. Now, we're both from Chicago, okay? I told her, based on our current circumstance, I didn't want to go because we didn't have the money. My wife says, well, if it's important to me, we should figure out a way to make it happen. So I felt that she pushed, and I got angry. And then I started going off. And then I noticed 4 or 5 minutes in, me talking on a tangent, she hasn't said a word. She looks at me in shock, and she says, what just happened? And I said, I don't know, but you just pissed me off. For those that heard that, every now and then I'll say words like that just so you can understand the severity of a situation. I was mad. Woman, if we don't have the money, do not bother me for money. But my wife operated out of faith. Like I said, she believed that we would get the money. Now, I thought after going off, after blowing up on her, I surely was not getting a plate of food from her. My wife goes over to me as I'm looking at the TV, still angry. She puts the plate down next to me and says, I choose to love. In that part of my life, I was a master of being angry, holding on to resentment, stubbornness. I was a master at it. But something told me, Bruce, if you continue down this road and you continue to go down this path, you will not last. Your marriage will not last. Whatever it is that you want to do in your life, you are going to block opportunities because of your anger, your resentment, your stubbornness, your bitterness, all because you want to save some money. You're angry. You're going to withhold your wife from being able to go and see her family when you know what's important to her. What if she did the same thing to you on the very thing that is important to you? So when I flipped it around, I said, man, I am a jerk. I'm a jerk. Now, I recognize I had a problem. And for many of you, you may recognize you have a problem in one of these areas. I just used the situation personally to share with you so I can add some flesh to what I mean. I knew that I was good at being angry and resentful, but I needed to do something different. I needed to start doing something different that I should be doing. I should not be getting angry. I should not be getting bitter. I should not have stubbornness. I should not have those very things, unforgiveness. I shouldn't have those things prevent me from being able to give my wife the things that she loves, or prevent me from having the relationships, the quality, the beauty in relationships that I should have. So here is what prevents you from increasing your capacity for action. Resentment is a mixture of disappointment, anger, and fear. I had a fear of losing money and not having enough money to being able to purchase the ticket. So as a result of having the fear, I got angry. And because my wife didn't share the same sentiment that I did, I felt disappointed that she didn't see what I saw. But my wife operates out of faith, people. So that means I had to raise my game spiritually. I had to raise my spiritual game. So if you are going to, number one, increase your capacity for action, you, number one, have to stop doing only the things you've done before: getting angry, being resentful, being bitter, having unforgiveness. Start doing those things you could and you should do. You should be practicing love, joy, peace, kindness, getting understanding, learning to love people, learning to appreciate the perspective of others. Anger can stop you from seeing the other side of other people's perspective, and sometimes those perspectives could unlock new opportunities. By you getting angry at situations, by you having unforgiveness, do you realize that you're blocking new opportunities, potential things that you could be doing? What if those things that you should be doing to increase your business is preventing you from being able to have a relationship with the person who has exactly what you need? I said it. What if the very thing that you're holding on to towards another person is preventing you from getting the thing that you need from them, and they know you need it from them, and the only way for you to be able to get it is if you learn to forgive. Learn how to deal with your anger. If you learn how to deal with the bitterness. If you learn how to deal with resentment. Most people's resentment and anger comes from disappointment. What is disappointing you in your life? What has caused you disappointment in your life? What has caused you? Who has caused you to have those characteristics in your heart? Ask yourself that question right now. Because I can tell you, the moment that you identify it, the moment that you isolate it from all the other things that you are doing well, but then you see the one thing that's holding you up, and you can see the situation, you can see the person, you can see the thing, you will begin to embark on a new journey of growth and development. Point number 2. Stop doing important things occasionally and start doing important things daily. Some things that I wanted to identify that, that could be on your list that you should be focusing on daily is your health, daily devotions, build your emotional bank account, learn to forgive daily. I want to talk to you about building your emotional bank account. Some of you, your emotional state is shot. Somebody pays you a compliment and you don't believe them because you've had so much disappointment in your life. Some people have told you that you're nothing. You can't do this, you can't do that, so your confidence is gone. But let me tell you something. It is important to get in front of a mirror each and every day and tell yourself what you are, who you are. But before you can get there, you need to be able to put yourself in a position to write those things down. Write it down, make it plain. Make it plain. And then every morning you wake up, say it 50 times. Yep, say it 50 times. I'll give you an example. I had some kids playing in my backyard, and I'm noticing something is off from some of these kids. And I realized that sometimes emotional breakdown begins when you're a child. So I pulled all the kids, including my own kids, as I stopped them from playing dodgeball in my backyard. And I said, I want you to say this: I am bold. I am confident. I am successful. I am determined to be successful. I have all the tools I need to be successful. I start telling them those things, and I said a whole bunch of things I had them to repeat. But do you know, I started seeing postures change. I started seeing confidence. I started seeing kids that were going after it in their heads, and they were intently focused on the next words that I was going to tell them. Imagine what could happen in your life if you got in front of a mirror with note cards and you start telling yourself what you are, who you are. What would that do to you? What would that allow you to be able to do? You don't need to get confidence from other people. It starts with you. Get in that mirror, write those notes down, start speaking those words over you, over your mind, in your heart. Because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So if you start speaking what you want, who you are, you will begin to become what you speak. So if you want to do something instead of being occasional and you want to do it daily, speak those things daily. You will begin to build your emotional bank account. If you want to learn how to forgive daily, notice I didn't say forgive, because when you just say I forgive you, you have to believe it first. So you have to learn to forgive. Learning to forgive is a daily process, because sometimes, I know it, you can meditate on somebody, you can have these thoughts running in your mind, you can play out what you didn't do and what you should have did to them and how you should have said this. But the reality of the situation is, every time you do that, every time you're playing it in your head, every time you're saying it out loud, do you realize that you are far away from forgiving that person or the thing, or forgiving yourself? Learning to forgive means I am going to choose not to think about that situation, and I'm going to figure out the best ways to entertain my time in my mind instead of replaying the past, and I'm going to learn to embrace my new journey. And the new journey means I have to see this person in a whole different light. I got to see the situation in a whole different light. I got to see all these things in a whole different perspective. So that means you got to get a different perspective. That's what that means. Daily devotionals. Let me tell you about the importance of daily devotionals. When you are going into a new day and you get your mind on thoughts, ideas, you get your mind on positive things, what you begin to think about is new possibilities. You get to think about the new you. You get to think about the new life that you want. You get to think about the things that only build you up and don't break you down. It's getting you to focus on things that may have taken you to a negative space, but putting you into a place where you can be positive, where you can build yourself up. Daily devotions, for me, have been very key. There have been seasons in my life where I didn't read a daily devotional. I didn't listen to a daily devotional. I didn't listen to that book. It could be a book. It could be a Bible. It could be something that builds you up. But you got to do it. You got to do it daily. You got to give your mind new things to meditate on, to focus on, to get into your heart. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't do the work, you won't experience the breakthrough. Your health. How many times a week are we so focused on saying, one day we're going to get healthy, one day we're going to do this, one day we're going to do that, and yet your health is deteriorating each and every day. My wife would tell me, babe, we need to get rid of all the toxins in the house. And I'm like, what? Why do we have to get rid of all that? And I'm looking at the products that I bought, and I would tell her, well, we had that at my house when I was growing up. And when you look on the back, you look at the ingredients in the product, and it's so toxic. And I didn't understand how detrimental your health can suffer just from toxins. Even from the food that you eat. Some of you eat out every day. every day. You have all those things that the restaurants add into your food just to make it taste good. And you don't realize you are dying every day. Some of you got to get your health right. You want to be successful. You want to be grinding. You want to do everything it takes to be that successful entrepreneur, that small business owner, or you want to take ownership of your personal growth and development. You got to get your mind and your body and your spirit right. You got to get the right food in your body. You got to get it right. So, now that I've gone through just some of my notes, I wanted to go through those 2 points. Let's do a recap. Number 1, stop doing only those things you have done before and start doing those things you could and should do. Point number 2, stop doing important things occasionally and start doing important things daily. I want to thank you for joining me. I want to let you know where you can find me, where you can get inspiration. You can go on my Instagram, my Facebook. It is at I am Bruce Westfield. Let me say it again. That is at I am Bruce Westfield. You can also look me up on the John Maxwell team. It's www.johnmaxwell/Bruce Westfield. Let me tell you that again. It's www.johnmaxwellteam.com/Bruce Westfield. If you are looking to improve yourself, wanting to improve yourself each and every day, you want to work on your mindset, you want to work on maybe that business idea, maybe you want to reach out to a supportive community of people who are on the same journey and path as you are, go on Facebook, find Grind Workshop. I went on there the other day and I noticed there were 2 other Grind Workshops. They're not me. If you don't see my face, if you don't see Bruce Westfield, that's not the group. Go on Grind Workshop, click the join button. I'll get the notification, or one of my admins will get the notification, and they'll add you. But before you click that join button, you have to know what you're getting into. You have to know that we are a supportive community. We're going to challenge you. We're going to ask questions. We are going to make sure that you are ready to go to that next level. We want to ask you, what are you working on? What are you doing? Are you just in here to work on yourself, or are you working on something business-wise? That's what we're going to ask you when you get in the group. So I hope you can find the value in that group. I just want to thank each and every one of you for being a supportive listener, being so supportive on this journey. And I can feel the love. I can feel the love in Canada. I can feel the love in France. I can feel the love in Japan. I just realized that those countries are listening in, as well as the United States. I just love adding value to you each and every day. Hope that you continue to put your best effort and your best foot forward. Keep doing you. Keep going after it. I love you guys. Thank you. Have a great day.